You're listening to a download from the outdoorstation.co.uk. Number 493.
Hello and welcome back to The Outdoors Station, producers of the longest running outdoors podcasts on the internet for the self-powered lover of the great outdoors. With only 6 more to go before the Big 500, this means there's a massive back catalogue of audio diaries and interviews with enthusiasts and celebrities alike, all related to self-powered travel. I'm your host, Bob Cartwright, and here at the Outdoors Station, we like to share adventures and experiences with all kinds of people. In the most recent podcasts, you will have heard me talk with Carl and Ellie regarding their 4,000-kilometre hikes around Ireland, with Katie Jane Endurance and her 600-kilometre traverse of Iceland, Jenny Davis regarding her Antarctic record attempt, and Katie Tunn with her 82-island challenge, to name but a few. However, in talking with these fascinating guests and others like them, we sometimes forget that everyone has to start their outdoors journey somewhere. Let's face it, it's easy to get carried away in the excitement of all these bigger adventures, longer hikes, more challenging terrain, and so on. However, for many people listening to this, just getting out of the office for a walk in nature with no technology pinging every 2 minutes, desperate for your attention, is a major challenge in itself. Which is why today we've taken a moment to slow down and explore a more simple approach with Zoe Holmes, an Ordnance Survey Get Outdoors champion, owner of Spods Blogs, and creator of the hashtag 1 Hour Outside idea. Something she started 4 years ago to challenge herself and others in a similar situation to do just that. Of course, all the links to her and everything we discuss can be found over on the show notes, theoutdoorstation.co.uk. So I arranged to meet up with Zoe at Pittville Park in Cheltenham to spend an hour outside with her discussing the project in more detail.
1 hour outside is my personal challenge, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. Lots of people have called it campaign, but I don't think it's quite that big yet. But yeah, 1 hour outside is basically a challenge where I try and spend at least 1 hour outside every single day, regardless of the day, the date, the time, what else I'm doing, whatever the weather's doing. Because such things are good habits and they're good for body, mind, soul. They help me make decisions, they help my stress levels reduce, they certainly help with anxious thoughts and other things. And so it's as simple as that. 1 hour outside every day.
And how long ago did you start this?
I reckon 1 hour outside is probably about 4 years old. It all started with a meeting that I had with Ordnance Survey. They invited a few bloggers to attend a little day that they were having, and they introduced some stats to us basically to talk about how little people spent outside, how little time people spent outside each day. And I found that shocking. Actually, I spat my tea out at one point because they explained that most people, if they need to go to the shop or to school or to work or whatever it is, and it was going to take them more than 15 minutes to walk there, then they would think that was too far and they would get in the car. And I kind of had a look around and I thought about, what I did and where I went and what my daily habits were, and I realised that actually, although I wouldn't have got in the car for more than for a sort of a 15-minute walk, I'm not very good at spending a lot of time outside on a normal day. I'll go out on a weekend and I'll hike up a big hill, or I'll go swimming, or I'll do something fun like that. But actually in the week, I don't really spend that much time outside. And it was kind of a wake-up call to myself. And I thought, okay, I can make myself accountable to that. I can improve on that. I can spend an hour outside every day. It'd be easy peasy, no problem at all. But yeah, so that's where it started, and since then it's become kind of a daily personal challenge for me, and then also an opportunity for me to reach out to others and encourage them also to spend a little bit of time outside every day.
As I understand it, you work in an office, and you've approached your colleagues, and did you discuss with them their approach to the 15-minute walk? Was it
as bad as you assumed?
Not my current colleagues. I've changed jobs since then, but certainly when I got back to work after that, after being introduced to those stats, I certainly chatted with my colleagues then and also my family, and I realised that most people are. That is how we are as a culture. Even it's very easy for us not to go out. It's very easy for us to eat our sandwiches rushed at our desks. It's very easier for us to jump in the car and go to work, even when it might only take us 20 minutes to walk there normally. And because that's just the culture of busyness and even lethargy that we're in these days. And at the time, I realised that this research is true. And okay. So come join me. Come out at lunchtime. Let's go to the park. Let's go for a walk. Let's have an ice cream. Let's have a coffee. And I'm very pleased to say that my current colleagues are actually very good at coming with me, which is lovely. To spend a few minutes outside at lunchtime with a friend having a chat, or even just walking to our next meeting. We have offices that are split around the town, and so we have an opportunity to walk to those meetings instead of jumping in a car. Even if we need an umbrella.
And what about the lunch break? Have you managed to encourage people not to be fixed to their desk and rushing their sandwiches?
It's really difficult because I think actually lunch breaks are frowned upon in offices quite often, and not in mine. I'm very fortunate that we're encouraged to take our breaks because they're hugely important to us. But I know that other people don't perhaps have that luxury of a sort of a culture where breaks are encouraged, but those breaks are hugely important. Getting out in your lunch break, getting some fresh air, even if you still have to sit at your desk and eat your sandwiches, you can go for a walk around the block, you can go and sit on a picnic blanket and have your break there, or even just have a chat with some friends right outside the front door of your office building. It's got to be better than still looking at that computer screen. I think we've got into a bit of a dangerous position in society where we want everything immediately. We expect replies to emails to be absolutely instantaneous. I don't know about you, but I often get emails from people an hour after I had an email from someone saying, "Why haven't you replied yet?" And I find it the most frustrating thing, because we expect everything immediately. And actually that sort of half an hour, 40 minutes that you take at lunch away from your computer and your telephone and everything else, I think it's the best thing you can do for your afternoon productivity, certainly.
When do you think it all started to go wrong?
Oh, I don't know. It's I'm no scientist or business analyst or anything like that, but I find that certainly in large organisations, it's expected of you that you will just work, and it's probably not even top-down stuff. It's peer-to-peer stuff. It's I need to do my work faster than them because then I might get a raise and they won't, or it might be I've got a quota to meet, but I'm not as quick as that person, so I need to stay longer. Or it could be that you're a teacher and you're on lunchtime duty, or it could be all sorts of things that make it really difficult to feel like you're allowed to go out at lunchtime, and that's just. It's really difficult to get out of that habit, if you like. And that's why setting a challenge like 1 hour outside or 15 minutes outside or whatever it is makes you accountable to yourself and means that you'll be a little bit stricter with yourself and go and do that. I actually run the campaign, just call it a campaign. I actually run 1 hour outside every November because November's a horrible month. It's dark, it's normally wet, it's certainly cold, the ground is slushy and muddy and horrible, and the evenings are very, very short. In fact, quite often you're going to work in the dark and you're coming home in the dark, and I know I'm not the only one that faces that. And so specifically November is a good month to challenge yourself, because you might, if you can do it in November, you can do it any month of the year, surely. And so I say to anybody that's struggling with a lunch break is to challenge yourself. Maybe it's only 10 minutes and then you get 10 minutes before work and 10 minutes after work. Wow, that's half an hour. That adds up really quick. It doesn't have to be an entire hour all at once. It can be split up.
And what's the response been? You've been doing what for 4 years, you say now? So I presume, like everything else, it's had a slow growth, but have you noticed any sort of spurts in interest or acknowledgement?
Yeah, I reckon so. I think social media certainly helps with this sort of thing, doesn't it? Because it means you can reach people who are interested in what you've got to say. I'm fortunate that I enjoy engaging with people on social media. So I'm if you can't find me, I'm on Twitter. I love to chat on there because I've really made some excellent friends and acquaintances, and I've really found that this idea of spending more time outside is actually, people are talking about it. And so introducing things like 1 hour outside on there, where I encourage people to show me where they've spent their 1 hour outside today. And it's really fantastic to see regular people doing that. They're my regulars. They're people who will tell me every day, oh, this is the sunrise I saw today, or this is the bike ride I did, or this is the canal I walked alongside today, or hey, look, I went out for a walk from work today and I found a bridge I've never seen before. Who knew that was there? It's things like that which they encourage me as well, because it's my challenge. I'm not very good at it every single day. I try. And so when I see people say, oh yeah, I got the bike out for the first time in ages today and I had a ride and it was really fantastic and it cleared my head, and or it might be that I haven't seen this friend for a long time, so rather than inviting them round to my house and sit in the lounge, we went for a walk, or we met in the park for a coffee. I just find that really helpful to me, and so hopefully other people find it helpful to them too.
You're listening to The Outdoors Station.
Award-winning producers of podcasts to inform, inspire, entertain and encourage people to enjoy a healthy outdoors lifestyle.
There's certainly been a lot of research, hasn't there, recently about 15 minutes outside each day increases the benefits to your heart and your health generally. So have you noticed in yourself any changes in your own sort of level of fitness or endurance? I know you're fairly outdoorsy anyway, but have you noticed anything?
I reckon the biggest benefit to me personally has been in my stress levels, in my ability to make decisions, in being able to switch off and have a clear head. And I think from that point of view, it's been absolutely invaluable. I am quite outdoorsy. I do love a good hike. I'm no endurance athlete. I certainly wouldn't make the Olympics in anything. But I don't feel that it's necessarily helped my fitness increase, but it certainly kept it. Because even when I'm having a particularly busy time at work, I still go out for my walks and I still enjoy a little bimble around the park or whatever it is, or maybe a walk to work in the morning if I know I've got a very busy day coming up. But yeah, it's those things, keeping the anxious thoughts at bay, reducing the levels of stress, or even just working through a problem. Something at home or at work is bothering you, something you're finding difficult, you're not quite sure what to do about something. Actually taking yourself away from that and having a think about it somewhere else in a different situation, on the top of a hill with an amazing view would be wonderful, but even just on the bench outside your front door, actually it helps you work through things, and for me that's definitely been the biggest benefit.
I'm finding when I do something like that, the other thing which is probably strikes me most importantly is that I'm not surrounded by all the other distractions or jobs I feel I should be doing. So as you say, when you go for a walk or get out of your familiar surroundings, then a different sort of thought pattern takes over. Absolutely,
and you're right, there is a lot of research to say that being in the trees, so the Japanese call it forest bathing, it's that sort of away from the computer screen, like you say, away from whatever other stuff's going on. Oh, I'll just do the washing up, I'll just do the ironing, or I'll just send that email, whatever it is. That you can't do those things when you're out on a walk, or when you're out on a bike ride, or whatever it is. Your thoughts are allowed to just go. It's a form of meditation in a lot of ways, especially if you're in a new place, because your eyes are seeing a lot of things, and there might be a view that inspires you, or there might be a change in temperature that makes you sort of shudder, or there'll be other things, more natural things that affect your body and affect your mind, where you wouldn't have got those if you stayed indoors, and you wouldn't have got those if you sat at your computer screen or just watched the telly, because the thoughts, especially when you're watching the television, are bombarded with so much other stuff that you're not allowed to think. And in that sense, we forget what thinking really is. And we don't necessarily allow our minds to clear as much. But when we're out and about, when we're wandering, or even if we are chatting to a friend at the same time, the chances are you'll just end up with that sort of thought pattern, that the mind just doesn't empty. It would be nice if it did, but it clears. It becomes clearer, and making those decisions or whatever it is, they happen without you even realising sometimes.
I was talking to somebody not so long back, and they were saying that the ability to, I suppose it's all about stillness and oneness and centralising and all the rest of it, but the ability to have nothing to distract you and allow your mind to open up. I remember speaking to Katie Tunn, actually, when we were talking about her 40 days, 40 nights, and she was saying that after, I can't remember what it was, the first week or first couple of weeks, and she was out on the island, that all of a sudden she found herself being much more creative. It suddenly hit her like a wave. And I think we're probably surrounded and have the assumption that there's always, as I say, something that you could do, something you need to do. When you don't have anything to do, then your mind goes into a different gear.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, really, when you give yourself that opportunity. You're right. It's there is always something that either needs to be done or you feel like you should be doing, especially at home. I don't know about you, but every room in my house still needs decorating, and the washing up is probably still on the side, and there's certainly ironing to be done. And it's almost like you feel guilty for having a break when you're in that sort of situation. And then at work, well, you certainly feel guilty for having a break there because they're paying you to do a job, so you have to do it, don't you?
Yeah, apart from that 1 hour, of course.
Apart from that 1 hour at lunchtime where, if you check your contract, you're probably not paid for that, but I'll leave that with you to check with your bosses. But yeah, so I think you're absolutely right. Heading out, taking yourself away from those things means that you don't have any choice. You can't do them. So you end up naturally falling into a rhythm or finding other things to think about and look at.
One thing, speaking from personal experience, many years ago there was a change in our family, there was death in our family, and so on Christmas Day we decided to take I think they were about 8 or 9 year old girls up to Pen y Fan. And we actually started a tradition of our own, and for 15 years we walked up Pen y Fan every Christmas Day, no matter what the weather was. And apart from the stillness and the change of environment, I found that as a family it gave us a fantastic few hours to engage and understand where we'd been for the last 12 months and what we were thinking about the next 12 months. So there's a bigger aspect to it as well as family engagement.
You're absolutely right, and I think using things like that, sad things, happy things, as an opportunity to start traditions or do things together, whether it be with your family or whether it be with a group of friends, or even on your own, having an opportunity to spend some alone time, which can be equally as important. And doing that as a routine, I think, does help us as human beings. We're not designed to be stuck in walls and under fluorescent tubes and sat in front of blue light computer screens. We're designed to be out in the open, to be moving around, to feel fresh air, to smell smells, to feel temperatures, which we don't get with air-conditioned offices or even air-conditioned homes these days. But yeah, I think you're right. I think spending time together as a family outside, doing things regularly, forming habits, using them as opportunities to chat about hopes and dreams or about things gone by, memories. All of those things can only be good for our souls. I often say that my soul grows when I see a big view, and I think that's true for me. It makes me grow as a person when I see an amazing vista. For other people it might be when they swim in particularly cold water, which is supposed to be very good for us, or it might be that they've gone on a run that was longer than they've ever run before. That might mean they grow. And so for me that sort of 1 hour outside thing is just those little baby steps towards changing ourselves as people and finding out where we're supposed to be, really.
So here you are now, several years into this, I dare I say, campaign.
All right.
This concept. Where do you feel it's going at the moment? Where do you think the next 4 years is going to take you and your audience?
Oh, I wish I knew that. I don't know. For me, I'm quite happy plodding along in my own normal little world, trying to encourage myself and other people to spend that little bit of time outside each day, because I really feel strongly that it's good for us. It's good for the way we think, and it's good for the way we are as people. But yeah, I guess I'm just going to keep plugging it there, to keep getting it out on social media, hoping that other people see it and find it and make it their own personal challenge. Because it's got to be that. It's got to be a personal thing, hasn't it? If we're trying to change, or if we're trying to sort of develop our own new habits, whether it be walking to work each day, whether it be taking the kids to the swings on a Thursday afternoon, whatever it is, it's got to be a personal thing. But yeah, I'd love to make it massive, obviously. I mean, I don't know, T-shirts and mugs and all sorts. It could be amazing. But actually, it really is just about that personal engagement and challenge, and just trying to be a good example, I guess.
I know through Ordnance Survey you've been to a few of the Get Outdoors gatherings, social
Yes.
gatherings and presentations, I guess. How have you found the response from the audiences and when you've given talks?
Yeah, I've attended a few festivals now with Ordnance Survey, sort of representing their Get Outside campaign. And I found mainly at those things that we've got an amazingly captive audience, because if you're attending festivals, you're probably already spending a lot of time outside. You're probably already camping, and you're probably already able to read a map, or at least think you can, which is enough sometimes. So I guess at those sort of events, it's really an opportunity to solidify that belief and to learn about how other people have found how they found their love of the outdoors, and that can be as much of a personal inspiration as it can be as an inspiration for other people in the room. Personally, my inspiration with the Get Outside campaign has been through meeting others like Katie Tunn, Ellie, I think you had on here a few weeks ago, who do amazing things in their normal life. So whereas this is my normal, their normal is very different. And then there's other guys like Sean Conway or Kenton Cool, whose normal is way beyond the scale of anything I could imagine, Everest and Le Jog and all these other things. And it's actually about seeing that and using that for personal inspiration, and knowing that we all play a part in each other's development, and in that just trying to do my bit to encourage people to spend more time outside, because it genuinely is a thing that's good for us, and we really shouldn't be sat down inside all day. It leads to all sorts of issues, and we can make little changes that make our and other people's lives better, just by spending that little bit of time outside.
I'm sure you agree everything Zoe tells us makes good sense. In my case, I'm currently flitting between my temporary office and the new studio building work, convincing myself as I do that living on the edge of town, I'm actually spending time outside. But am I really? And since our conversation a couple of weeks back, I've tried to walk the dog more, take time to pick the juicy blackberries which are appearing, and absorb the subtle changes in the seasons which are currently upon us. What about you? Is 1 hour outside part of your life? My thanks to Zoe for letting me share that 1 hour outside with her. Of course, all the shortcuts to her various social media #1HourOutside links can be found over on the podcast page on theoutdoorstation.co.uk. So until next time, folks, enjoy that hour outside and get some more balance back in your life. Take care out there, and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To hear or see more from our extensive free library, please visit theoutdoorstation.co.uk.